Hey, I want to welcome you guys back. You're sitting out on the deck at mine and Carolyn's house. Our little third video today, and just want to continue to express to you, how much I thank you for allowing me to speak into your life and to show you love. I wish I could just reach out to you and put my arms around you, so you could feel my arms and you could feel me loving you. That's the way that you can always feel that God has His arms around you. Your loved ones have their arms around you. You know, um, it's so important that you understand and have love. So devastating not to have that in your life, and you've experienced it. You experienced the problems, you experienced the disasters and things like that, and those things seem to mount up on one side. But we want to bring love into focus now. A love that would crush those things. You remember only the good things. You only that to remember the good things makes you have a proper understanding about your life, and it affects your mind, your body, your temperament, and everything that's in life. We want to see love. Keep put exceeding in love. Put love into you. Talk love into you. Talk about love. Say, do you talk about anything else? No, my call is to talk about love. My mission, my mandate is to talk about love, uh, relating to mine and Carolyn's love story, relating to mine and Carolyn's life, the perfect life that we have, the perfect marriage that we have. We do. We do. It's perfect. Because, see, when you accept Christ into your life, your spirit man becomes perfect. And then the Bible says that your soul is saved every day. That when you're renewing your mind to the things I'm talking to you about, we begin to renew. I always said renew your mind to those things. It now starts to bring health. It brings longevity of life back to you. It brings the things that you need, things that your body needs to help it circulate, help it work the way it should. Then it helps your mind. Your minds don't have those weeds growing in there. They have good trees, green trees, growing in your mind. Not those little thistle thoughts. That's those thorny thoughts. Not those thoughts of never being overcome, overcoming things in life. And we want you to enjoy life. We want you to have it to the fullest. The word says that the enemy comes to steal. When he can steal love away from you, it kills what you're trying to live. It kills life out of you, and then it destroys a legacy that you're building. See, I'm building a legacy of love. I built that legacy of love into my son. I build that legacy of love into the people that I know. To you that are my friends, you understand that I love you, right? The ones that know me personally, you understand that Tim and Carolyn love you. We're building that legacy inside of you, a legacy that will carry on, a legacy that will continue to extend from generations to generation. The enemy always wants to steal that from you. Then when he steals love from you, he steals protection from you, he steals provision from you. Then that's where death comes in, and he steals life from you because he's trying to destroy the generation things. He's trying to destroy the inheritance. He's just trying to destroy the legacy that you're building in love. So you'll face all kinds of things in life, but you can overcome them all with love. And you that don't know Christ, I recommend that you try Christ, that you reach out to Him, you reach out to Jesus, because He is love, and everything He did is because He loved you. So I want you to think about those things. I pray that at night you'll have visitations by the Spirit of God. You have visitation by angels. You have dreams, and you'll have those things that will be in your mind and be in your thought life, so you can have what I'm talking about. You can have the love of God in your life, and then you know that your life is set and where you will end up. See, I have a great understanding of love and revelation of love, and I have a great assurance. The assurance where Carolyn is in heaven now. I couldn't ask for her to be in a better place. You know, it's even a better place than I could offer her here on earth. It offers her a more completeness in her life than I could offer her here. Folks, I did really good by my wife. My wife was really blessed. There was nothing that Carolyn ever needed or ever wanted that she didn't get, because I was able to provide those things for her. You say, well, Tim, you're blessed beyond some people can do. No, I'm no worthy of these things than you are. You can have the same thing. So I made a good life for us here because of God. I knew God's love. She knew God's love. We knew God's protection. She knew God's protection. I knew God's provision. Carolyn knew God's provision. She knew that all that provision came from the Lord. And so I can't ask for a better thing for Carolyn than to be in heaven, to be with God, to be with Jesus. I can't ask for a better thing than that for her. And you can't ask for a better thing for that in your life, where that you will one day step over from the now into the hereafter and be in that place too. And so it's very important that you get the revelation that I'm talking about in this love. Like I said, it refers to something discovered through personal encounter and living contact. Personal encounter and living contact. I'm a living contact to you. I'm also a personal encounter to you. That it refers to the kind of intimacy relationship that makes two people one. That's what made Carol and I one. The encounter that we had, the personal encounter that we had, the living contact that we had, you know, that love became the fabric in our life. I was trying to see my notes that I had written down this morning. And so it's very important that you hear the things that I'm talking to you about, and we want to show people love. You know, that's always giving. Giving always receives. Giving can't help but to receive, because when you give, when you seed, whatever you're seeding into, it gives back to you. If you're seeding in things that are bad for you, then that's what you get. You get a bad crop. You get the things, you know. Again, the old saying is, whatever a man sows, woman, man, person, whoever, that's also what they'll reap. And we don't never want to reap anything but the goodness of life. Man, this is a beautiful place, beautiful life that we can have here. You know, life has in the world that we live in is a fallen world. There's many bad things. There's many bad things that try to pull you down and tries to destroy the comfortable and the perfect life that God wants you to have. Starting to sprinkle a little bit on me out here. So anyhow, that's important that you understand and that you know that. And so, you know, Carol and I was still having a great time. You know, we had a great Christmas, a great New Year's. You know, we were going into being in Germany now pretty close to a year. And so right after, like I said, within just a few months, a year or so in the military, I became an E5, which that really helped. That boosted our pay up quite a bit. And so we were excited about that. And there was a lot of stuff going on in Germany at that time. There was a lot of bombing installations and a lot of they would call the PLO, the Palestinian Liberated Army Organization, PLO. They were doing a lot of things there, and so to a measure that we started to get the recoil from that, the things happening with that. And Carol and I had met this young couple. Actually, we was at the park there in Kaiserslautern, and we met this young couple, and they had a baby, and they were named Mike and Margaret Cox, and the little baby, they call him Dewey. So Carolyn was always had Dewey, holding Dewey and talking to him and everything, and so we got to be good friends with them. And Mike, he even had a car. He had a Volkswagen, and so they were wanting to go on a trip to Amsterdam, And we said, "Wow, you guys will have fun." Well, we thought about it. We want y'all to go with us, and so they said it's a pretty long drive from where we're at. Pretty long drive, a few hours, and we thought it'd be nice if we had another couple with us because we see how much you love the baby and how good you are with the baby and everything. And so Carol said, "Yeah, let's go." I said, "Okay, well, I got to be sure I can get off." And so I went in and talked to the Cavendish, and I said that I wanted a leave for the weekend to go to Amsterdam. I told him where we're going, and he said, "Well, I don't see any problem with that." He said, "I've got some things in mind for you that I need to talk to you about when you get back, so I'm going to give you a pass to go for it really wasn't leave time, it was just a pass to be out. We had to have passes to go, out of what we call out of the country, out of Germany and stuff." So he said, "Okay." So we got in the car. So we planned the deal. We got in the car with Mike and Margaret. And man, I didn't think a couple of times that Volkswagen was gonna make it up some of those steep inclines where we were going, but we were having a good time. Had little Dewey back there with us. You know what? I don't think I remember the baby's name. We always called him Dewey. I remember Mike and Margaret's name, but I don't remember the baby's name. And so we were. Mike had driven most all the way to Amsterdam and Holland, and we were excited to see all the sights there and everything. And so we got into Amsterdam, and Mike said, "Man, I'm tired of driving. You want to drive?" I said, "Sure," because that was a good thing about Carol and I. Still had our international license, and we could drive in Europe. And so, okay, kind of picture this. I don't have any pictures to show you, but kind of visualize this. Here we are in Amsterdam. We're on the right-hand side of the road. There's two lanes on this side of the road. We're in the far left lane, and in the middle of the street, it runs to the street. It's a trolley where you could ride the trolley, and then of course the oncoming traffic were in the other two lanes over here. So we had stopped at this red light, and we changed drivers. I had just gotten into that side of the car. And so we was all ready to go. Well, the trolley was coming up beside us. Well, this taxi cab that was way behind us was in a hurry, so he goes on the wrong side of the road, pulls in front of the trolley to try to get over on our side of the road, and we were sitting there. I was sitting there, and he hit us in that Volkswagen. And of course, Volkswagen, the trunk is in the front, the motor's in the back, so there's not much in the front except the steer and suspension and stuff. So he hits us so hard that he knocks the whole front end of that Volkswagen off. And I'm almost like a cartoon. I'm sitting there with a wheel in my hand, and that was it. And he had knocked the whole front of the Volkswagen off. And so he was on the wrong side of the road, passed the trolley, wasn't supposed to press the trolley, and then pulled over into us. But when he saw that we had those green tags, military tags, he got out and he was holding his neck, and all this and all that. So here, Mike and I were trying to deal with that situation, and when we first came in to town, we'd already had a reservation where we were going to stay at this hotel, and so we hadn't gone by there yet because we still had everything in the car. And so while we were dealing with that, this Mercedes pulls up beside us, and all of a sudden I looked over there, and Margaret and Carolyn and Dewey was getting in the Mercedes, and we didn't know where they were going. They got in the Mercedes, put their luggage in there, and they took off. And Mike said, "Where did they go?" I said, "I don't know. They got in the car in that Mercedes there, and they're gone." He said, "Well, we gotta take care of all this." So we took care of it, and then we tried to get stuff fixed, and they said, "There's nothing we can do. Your car is totaled." And so they took it to the impoundment, and we took the tags off the car, and here we were catching the trolley over to our hotel, and we happened to remember what the name of the hotel was, so and so we told them, and we got there, and good thing in Holland, a lot of people spoke there was multicultures there, and most of them spoke some basic English, so we was able to get around pretty good. And we went to the hotel, and we went in, and there was Margaret and Dewey and Carolyn, and I said, "Where did you go? I didn't even know where you're gonna go." "Well, we didn't think anything about it." He said, this nice gentleman pulled up in this Mercedes, said, "Oh, I see that y'all involved in that." He could speak a little bit of English. Said, "I could see y'all was involved in an accident. Saw you had a baby, and I just wanted to help in some way." And she said, Margaret and I never thought of it. We got in the car with him, and we went and they brought us to the hotel. I said, "How do you remember where the hotel was?" "I remember the name that we talked about." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Baby, don't do that again, because we don't know all these people and everything." She said, "Well, we felt okay." Margaret and I looked at each other, and we said, we just kind of communicated that this would be okay. So anyhow, we stayed at the hotel. So the next morning, man, they have the best continental breakfast that you ever had. Not like you get at some of the hotels that you stay in, where you go and you get the powdered eggs and all that stuff. They had jams like you wouldn't believe, all kinds of brochin is bread, all kinds of special rolls, some like a cinnamon roll, some like fruit rolls. And man, they had great continental breakfast. I can almost taste that. That's been 50 years ago, but I can almost taste it. So we enjoyed that, and we told the girls, said, y'all need to stay here right now. Mike and I are going up to the Bundespost, which is the post office. They got a constable there, and we're gonna go in there and see if we can't get something done. So we went up and kind of argued around with them, and they said, "Well, the guy's wanting to sue y'all." I said, "Sue us? The guy run into us." "Yeah, but he got hurt." And I said, "Well, how about us? We had a baby in the car with us. Were any of y'all hurt?" I said, "No, we're not hurt, but we could have been hurt. This guy was in the wrong." And so it ended up what they weren't going to do anything at all. So Mike had to leave the car there, and we just had the tags in our hand, and so we didn't get to see much scenery. We did a little bit of sightseeing, and we could, and because we knew that if we weren't going to drive back, then we had to get transportation back home. And so we saw a few things, and had a good time despite all that. But can you imagine that, sitting in a car, and this car comes around, and you never see the car because he's passing the trolley on the wrong side, going the wrong way, and then pulls right into you and knocks the whole front end of the car out. Thank God we weren't hurt. That was part of mine and Carol's covenant. We didn't really know how Mike and Margaret believed, and so we knew they were good people, and seemed to be Christian people, but we knew that we were covenant people. And remember when I talked about covenant people? They're loved, they're protected, and they're made provisions for. And so you gotta understand that when you become a covenant person, in covenant love, in a covenant relationship, marriage, that you have great benefits from it. So anyhow, like I said, we saw a few things there. Saw the wooden shoes. You know, you see the, the little milkmaids with their shoes on, and the little tulip mills, and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. New York is just like any other city. They got a bad section of town, where they have, prostitution, and they have a lot of drug use and stuff like that. But we avoided most of those places, even though we more saw some of those things. So we made arrangements that we were going to catch the train, and so we got on a train, and we passed. I don't know if you people are familiar with Philips products and stuff, but Philips products was a German-made product. Philips stereos, DVD players, Blu-rays and stuff like that. Then that's a Philips company in Switzerland, in Germany, or I guess Amsterdam area. And so we got on the boat, and not on the boat, but we got on the train, and the train went right along the Rhine River the whole time. It just kind of cascaded around where the river went. That's where the train tracks followed. And so we got to enjoy some great scenery. Got to see some castles there, and saw the boats. I mentioned the boats, said boats first. We saw the boats going down, and that was actually the Rhine River that ran all the way down in there, and all the way on our way back from Germany, we rode the train. And so that was a good experience riding the train. It wasn't a good experience by having a wreck over there and everything. But I just wanted to say I see how God protected us through all those situations and everything. And so the beautiful thing, Mike and Margaret were okay. We were able to get them another Volkswagen, and the baby was fine. And so that was quite an experience. Like the old saying was, some experiences you experience, but you didn't want to experience them again. Well, that was one of those experiences, So that was a great thing, that we got back safe and everything. And Carolyn then was going back to school, and we were starting to have a lot of problems with stuff in around and about us and everything. And we were on the bowling team and everything. And when you get milk cartons and things, they always had a milk carton that said reevaluate, reconsider, re-enlist. They always wanted you to re-enlist. They always had the propaganda on the milk cartons. And Carol and I would always laugh about that and say, let's throw that thing away, So we talked about, she said, I'd like to have a washer and dryer. I said, well, okay. She said, well, I don't see very many colors around here. Most of them are OD green, olive green looking stuff. And I said, well, I said, well, let's consider it, and we'll talk about it. So we were, she said, you're not considering about enlisting, are you? I said, no. I said, now if I re-enlisted, I could get that washer and dryer for you, because I had a VRB of 4. It's kind of a rating. I had a VRB of 4, which is, if I re-enlisted, I'd had re-enlist for 6 years, but I'd get $10,000 and another stripe, and I could be stationed anywhere I wanted to be stationed. Well, we don't want to do that, See, the good thing about before, Carol and I were married and everything, that summer I had worked for the railroad some, and I had a job waiting on me when I came back with, it would be almost 2 years seniority. So I had a good job. I would be coming back from making $4,000 a year to $14,000 a year. That was quite a raise, for us. So anyhow, I said, well, I guess if I re-enlist, I get that washer and dryer. Oh, I don't need that washer and dryer that bad. I said, oh, okay. So we laughed about that. We went on bowling that night and everything. And Sergeant Eubanks, another sergeant in that company, he was always kidding Carolyn. And Sergeant Eubanks was married to a Swedish woman that he married over there. And so he'd been there a long time, and it was fun being around them. And my supply sergeant, he was married to a German national, and he'd been there a long time because he could speak German, Dutch, very, very fluently. So anyhow, they were kidding Carolyn about me re-enlisting. He's not going to re-enlist. And Sergeant Eubanks said, well, I have a secret that I know about. And he said, yeah. She said, and Tim's going to get that for you. And she said, what? She said, he's going to get you that washer and dryer. And all kind of, I could see it come over Carolyn's face. And she looked at me and she said, "You didn't re-enlist for 6 more years so I could get that washer and dryer, do you?" And Sergeant Eubanks said, "Yeah. We're gonna get that washer and dryer. We're gonna get it delivered to you." And Carolyn, she got all upset about that. So we had to explain to her, "No, I didn't do that. I didn't re-enlist. I didn't re-enlist, so we get the washer and dryer." So they were always kidding Carolyn. She was always having a good time with them. We had great relationships with those guys and everything. So we went on and bowled that day, and like I said, things were getting a little bit tense over there. I don't know if you remember this. Of course, I'm a lot older than most of you guys that are probably listening to these tapes, but back in the '70s, they had the Olympics over there. And I don't know if you remember Mark Spitz. He had won a lot of the swimming thing. He had won a bunch of gold medals and everything, and they had the Olympic Village there where people stayed, and the PLO came in there and they shot a bunch of people in there, and they had was rioting in there and everything, and like I said, they had shot a bunch of people, so that automatically started to throw us on alert all the time and everything there, and so it was getting really hard because they were starting to bomb installations and blow up cars and and things like that, and we started to had to pull a lot of guard duty and stuff like that, and so me being the rank I was involved in the getting all that ready and everything, and so I had told Carolyn, I said, "Now listen, here is our secret password, and that if someone comes to you and said you need to go, you need to get on the plane, you go with them." "Well, I can't go without you." I said, "I'll be fine. You get on the plane and you go with them, but they have to tell you these things before you do it, okay?" And she said, "Do I just leave everything?" I said, "Just get whatever you can carry. You don't worry about the household goods, and stuff like that. You just, get your clothes and you get on a plane and go with them." And she said, "Okay." She said, "I don't like this." I said, "I don't either, but that we're protected and we'll be okay and we'll overcome this." "Well, I don't never want to be without you." "Be away from you?" I said, "That's fine. We'll be together. We'll always be together." And I said, "Did you just listen to me now and you do what I tell you, okay?" She said, "Well, I'm supposed to graduate." I said, "That's fine. We'll see what happens." Well, what had happened during that time, and we didn't talk a lot about this going on over there. So, and which was something that wasn't in the news like stuff is all the time. So Carolyn didn't even get to go to her graduation because there was problems over there, and so she was upset because she said, "They didn't even blow up anything. I got to graduate." I said, "Well, you're okay." So it came down that she had to come home early. I had about 4 months left in the service, and so Carolyn got on the plane and was able to pack her stuff. Didn't have to go in the night like we thought. Got on the plane, then she flew back home, or was flying back home, and then so that meant that I had to go back into the barracks and live in the barracks, and I'll tell you some stories about that as well. But so anyhow, this was a strain on Carol and I because we'd had been married a short time, and now we would have to be apart and everything, and I didn't ever like to be away from her or apart from her. But I knew she'd be okay, and then we'd be okay, and then I didn't have much time left, and then I would be with her. So she got on the plane, then she came back home. And we knew our love would be strong enough to hold us through all the situations. So I want to tell you, love will hold you through all situations of life, and you can overcome a lot of things in life, even things that you don't understand. So it's very important that you know that, and that how much Carol and I love you. I'll talk to you more about those situations in love and what encountered and things happened about that. But I want you to know God loves you so much. So does Carolyn and I, and we want the very best for you. you know, and I'll be back talking to you again. Sorry it takes a little while to get back, but I'll be back. You know, you have a good day, and I'm gonna say what Carolyn always says: we are eternal, and understand that we are eternal. And I'll be talking to you real soon. Have a blessed day. Love you guys so much. God bless you.